What's up guys, welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. Today we're taking a look at Zevlor. Yes, I built a mill deck. I've never really liked mill as a strategy, but this guy might just make it valuable. Because whenever we target an opponent with a spell, we're going to go ahead and double it for every other opponent. So now we can traumatize every opponent instead of just one. So that's what kind of makes it viable in my opinion. Having every opponent mill half their library is a whole lot better than just one. So without further ado, let's get into this deck. Let's go over these mill cards. Cut your losses. This one's amazing because one, we're going to be able to copy it for every opponent using our commander. And then we're going to get an additional copy with the casualty ability. So we'll take an opponent out right there. Traumatize. Again, this card's not very good, but our commander makes it good. Doing this to one opponent is just going to make everybody fear you, but doing it to everybody, it's going to make them fear you, but they're going to be halfway dead already, so it doesn't matter. Maddening Cacophony. This one's really good because it targets all of our opponents already, so after we traumatize someone, we can go ahead and cast Maddening Cacophony to take out every opponent all at once. Fleet Swallower. This one's really good because it's gonna half an opponent's library right out of the gate. And it's an attack trigger, so even if they block it and kill it, they're still gonna be halving that library. Dusk Mantle Guildmage. Let's take a look at this guy. We can pay 3 mana, and whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere this turn, that player loses 1 life. So go ahead and half their library, they take 50 damage, and boom, they're out of the game. Notably, that's just gonna kill everybody on the spot. We also run Sir Conrad the Grim. This guy does something really similar, right? Because if we're milling 3 of our opponents, the odds that all of them together mill enough creatures to kill themselves is pretty high. Drown in Dreams. This card's insane because not only will it let you mill your opponents, but it's going to draw you a lot of cards. I'm not really sure if the 2 copies you make from it, you can target yourself for that card draw or it has to target your opponent. You guys can let me know in the comment sections below. If it does, this card is even more broken than I think, but if not, it's still really good. Then we have your classics like Mind Crank and Mesmeric Orb. Ruin Crab, this guy's just going to add a little mill here and there. I know it's not the crazy mill we're used to, but it is useful over the course of a game. Bruvac, we had to include Bruvac, right? He is a $40 card, but this wouldn't be a mill deck without him. He's going to turn all of those mill half your library cards into an instant kill. Terizian Mindbreaker. This is a huge construct that can go ahead and just take out somebody's library. Additionally, it does have that useful Unearth ability because honestly paying 7 mana sounds terrible. Lastly, we have Phoenix, God of Deception. You're probably asking yourself why include this guy? Well, this is going to transition us into our next category. We do have a token sub-theme in this deck. So just picture while I'm going over all of these tokens, having this guy on the battlefield and milling out our opponents. So let's get into it. We have Magnus the Red. Not only is this going to make our instant and sorcery cards cost less, but it can also go ahead and create us some of those 3/3 red spawn creature tokens. Dika Fractal Theorist. Remember, while we're copying all of these high mana costed sorcery spells, Dika's gonna go ahead and make us some massive creatures that we can then make unblockable. Metallurgic Summonings. This is the same, right? We won't get tokens for the copy because only Magecraft does that, because technically whenever you copy a spell, you're not casting it, but we still will be able to make some pretty massive tokens with this, and we can exile it to bring our instant and sorcery cards back from our graveyard to our hand. We are running some will cards in the deck just for that efficient card draw, and it does kind of mill our opponents out in a way, so that will be useful in the future. Zelix Sanity Flayer. Not only does this guy fit perfectly in with the mill theme, he's also going to fit perfectly in that token sub theme, because every time a player mills 1 or more creature cards, we're going to go ahead and create a 1/1 black horror creature token. Notably, I included this category just to help with our life total, right? Because as soon as people notice that we're going to try to be milling people out and milling them out fast, they're going to do whatever they can to get rid of us. So chump blockers are going to be pretty important. Stitcher Jeroff. Again, this is another card that fits perfectly into the mill theme and token theme, right? We're going to make a big blue zombie, hopefully. And if not, he's just going to make us some little zombies that can block some stuff and mill our opponents while he does it, which is kind of perfect. We also run the Scarab God. This guy's impossible to get rid of unless they exile him, and he's just going to be really useful to reanimate all our opponents' broken stuff, right? They can't get too mad at us because they put it in their deck and we're just using it against them. Lastly, we do have Toxrill the Corrosive. This guy is a house. He's going to go ahead and wipe the board, he can draw us some cards, and he can create us tokens. Honestly, if this guy sticks, we can win the game from there. Now that we've gone over the token theme, that Finax God of Deception, he's not looking so bad, right? They also have errated him to say mill. Alright guys, let's look at the core of the deck. We have Swiftfoot Boots just to protect our commander, Kest Dissident Mage, that way we can cast instant and sorcery cards that we have already used. Mizzix's Mastery is going to let us cast all of the instant and sorcery cards from our graveyard all at once if we overload it. If not, it'll just let us cast a crucial card, which can be really helpful. We then run 2 tutors with Solve the Equation and Mystical Tutor. That way we can get the cards we need to make our opponent's life hell. Alright guys, let's go over the card draw. We are running Archmage Emeritus. Every time we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, we're going to draw a card. This guy's going to draw us a ton of cards over the course of a game. Peak. I like this card because listen, all we have to do is copy it with our commander and we're going to draw 3 cards by paying 3 mana. Pretty good. Same with Gitaxian Probe. Go ahead, use our commander. Not only are we going to get a ton of information, but we're going to go ahead and draw 3 cards. Cleansing Wildfire, this can get rid of any utility lands they have, and draw us 3 cards while doing it. Cerulean Wisps will do something similar. Additionally, we can just use this on our commander to go ahead and untap him if we need his ability twice in one turn. Expedite, again, this is another card you can just give one of your opponent's creatures haste, which they are not going to be able to use on your turn, and then draw 3 cards because you'll copy it for each opponent. We are also running Faithless Looting because this is the most amazing card to play turn 1, or it's one of my favorites. Additionally, we have wheels like Windfall, Whispering Madness, Dark Deal, Wheel of Misfortune, and Reforge the Soul. I really like these in the deck because it's just going to make it to where we are milling our opponents out while drawing cards. Alright guys, let's move on to ramp. Similarly to Archmage, we are running Stormkiln Artist. This is going to create us a ton of treasure tokens throughout the game. Goblin Electromancer, this is just going to make all our instant and sorcery cards cheaper. Vadric Astral Archmage. This one again can get pretty massive and make our spells cost significantly less if left alone. Wayfarer's Bauble, just a standard, ramp include. Acquire. This sounds really cool because we can just go ahead and nab everybody's soul ring. But notably, we will be looking for that cool stuff like Bolas's Citadel and, other cool stuff. In the right playgroup, I could see you walking away with an Aetherflux Reservoir, a Bolas's Citadel, and a Sensei's Divining Top and just comboing off to the win. That'd be pretty insane. Cormella. This is just another one that's going to be really good for casting our instant and sorcery spells. Additionally, when she dies, we can return up to 1 target instant and sorcery card from our graveyard to our hand. Rousing Refrain is going to be insane because again, with our commander, we can use this on each of our opponent to add a lot of mana to our mana pool, and then we're going to exile it and do it again. Mana Geyser. I think this card needs to see more play because the amount of mana it adds is insane. Then we're running your standard stuff like Dimir Signet, Arcane Signet, Izzet Signet, Rakdos Signet, and your Soul Ring. Alright guys, finally let's take a look at that removal. We have Snap. This is going to return a target creature to its owner's hand. Notably, we can go ahead and do that for each of our opponents and untap a ton of lands that way. Chaos Warp, again, pretty flexible. We can do this on each of our opponents or just a one-off. Again, a lot of the removal in this deck is flexible because it changes a lot whenever you copy it with your commander. Bedevil, Wind's Rebuke, this is another one if you copy it with your commander. It's pretty devastating for the opponents. Devastation Tide, again, pretty devastating. I'm really excited for Electro Dominance because if you copy this 3 times, you're going to be able to cast 3 cards from your hand for free. Negate, just a really classic counter spell, an offer you can't refuse. This one's becoming pretty staple in my opinion. Blasphemous Act, we all know this one can save you from a huge board state. River's Rebuke, with your commander, this is basically a Cyclonic Rift. Reality Shift, again, this can be pretty useful if we copy it with our commander or we can just use it to exile 1. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the deck tech. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really had fun making this one, and let me know if you think mill's a viable strategy down in the comments below.